Hey everyone, just coming to you on Saturday here for the Saturday Easter week devotional. And this is the devotional where we're going to talk about this time in between Good Friday and Easter Sunday, which is, of course, today, Saturday. And not much is written in the accounts of the crucifixion and the resurrection about this Saturday period. The only thing we know about this time is that the religious leaders came to Pontius Pilate and requested that guards be placed at Jesus' tomb because they were scared that somebody might come and steal the body, or they were very paranoid about how this was all going to turn out. And so Pilate had guards posted at the tomb. And then, of course, the story proceeds to resurrection morning when Jesus rose from the dead. And in that story, let me back up. The disciples had been scattered by this time. So in the garden, when Jesus was arrested, the disciples were scattered. And Peter is seen outside in the courtyard when Jesus is being tried, or in the court on the inside, and being interrogated by the religious leaders. That's when Peter denied Jesus 3 times. John, the Apostle John, was present at the crucifixion. He was standing at the foot of the cross nearby with Mary, Jesus' mother. And as Jesus was dying on the cross, he looks at John and said, Mary is now your mother. Please take care of her from now on. And besides that, we don't really know what happened to the disciples. And on resurrection morning, without talking about the resurrection itself, the 2 Marys, they go to the tomb and they find the tomb empty, and they encounter an angel of the Lord who says, Jesus isn't here, he's risen. They run back to tell the disciples. Now, it doesn't say that they're gathered together, but the assumption is that they have gathered together, because Jesus told them to go ahead of him into Galilee, and so we're assuming that they were gathered together somewhere in Galilee, I think they went to Galilee afterwards, actually, and here they're probably gathered somewhere in the city, possibly. We don't really know. But the 2 Marys, they run to the disciples to tell them what's going on. So somewhere between the crucifixion and the resurrection, the disciples had banded together. I guess what I want to see in this Saturday devotional, or in this Saturday time between Good Friday and the resurrection morning, is a time of waiting. The disciples were probably still completely overwhelmed with the events of the last several days, and this had not ended the way they anticipated. Even though Jesus had predicted it, they still didn't quite catch on to what was happening. And there's something about this period of waiting that is so formative for the soul. Realistically, Jesus could have risen again right away and proved to everybody that he was the Messiah, that he was the Son of God. But there's something about this day of waiting, this day of preparation, this day of maybe a holy silence or stillness. This waiting is super healthy for the soul. I think the problem with waiting, though, is waiting is something that we actually usually understand as waiting for something. For example, right now I'm waiting for the laundry to be finished so I can fold it and put it away. I'm waiting for the snow to melt. I had Kyle shovel an area around our fire pit so that area would melt and dry up faster so we could have a backyard fire sooner. So I'm waiting for the snow to melt and for the temperature to warm up to have a fire. We are always waiting for something, waiting for a next paycheck, waiting for summertime, waiting for the kids to come home if they're at school, or waiting for the kids to go back to school if it's the middle of summertime. So all sorts of things that we wait for, but how often do we actually wait for someone? So I'm going to read a few verses from the Psalms that help us to center our mind on the fact that we can actually wait for someone instead of just something. Psalm 27 verse 14 says, "Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord." Psalm 33 verse 20 says, "We wait in hope for the Lord, because he is our help and our shield." Psalm 37 verse 7 says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him." And Psalm 40 verse 1 says, "I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. So in this season, we're all waiting for something. We're waiting for answers. We're waiting for a pandemic to pass us by. We're waiting to see what things are going to be like on the other side, with jobs and the economy, with the ability to travel and to conduct business. Many people are waiting to see what happens with the stock markets and the oil industry, especially people here in Alberta. We're waiting for a lot of things. And I think it's important maybe on this Saturday to focus on what it means to wait for someone. It sounds very cliche, but in Christ we find all the answers that we actually need. And if the answer isn't in Jesus, then it's maybe not an answer we actually need. So let's wait. Let's wait patiently. Let's be strong and take heart. Let's take courage that Jesus is going to show up. He is going to help. He is going to lead and guide. He's going to provide. He's going to be everything we need him to be. But the encouragement is to wait for him and not to necessarily wait for an answer or to wait for that moment when everything makes sense. So much of this won't make sense until many, many months afterwards as we see the long-term effects of some of these things. So take courage, take heart today. Jesus is in control, and we can wait patiently and courageously for him. So whatever you're waiting for today, direct your eyes to Jesus. Wait for him, and wait patiently. He always shows up on time. He's never late, even though we may get nervous. But take heart. He will answer you when you need him. So that's our thought for today. And remember to join us tomorrow morning if you can, 10:30 a.m. for our Easter Sunday service. And also keep your eyes glued to the YouTube channel and our Facebook page. We're going to just have regular video updates, just encouragements, upcoming things that we want to put on your radar. So keep it into those places, and we will meet you there. Take care, everybody. We love you, and we're praying for you. Bye-bye.